Good day, everybody. Here we are for a bag reveal. This one's 1962D. Now, this one's not an original mint bag. This one is a sealed bag from a bank. Basically, the mint bag tore open, and the owner decided to have them re-bagged. So they just dumped them into a bank deposit bag, and that's what this is. I'm trying to find my skizzers so that I may cut this bag open. Cannot find skizzers, so I shall do it this way. There we go. I have a kniffy. My kniffy worked, and I'm now into this bag. It's a pretty bag. It looks like decent coins. I'm going to move it over to the side over here so I can get to it a little bit better. How's everybody doing today? We all are waiting for a bag to open. I am going to do a pair for each person who is involved in this during the show, and then I will randomly resort the others afterward. Everybody will get the exact same coins they were going to get either way, but this is the way I've decided to do these to save a little bit of time, a little bit of extra energy. Once you've been through a roll worth of these coins, you've been through enough. Headache's all better. Well, not really all better. I'm lying, but I have a headache, but I'll make it through. Let's see here. I get things moved around a little bit so I can do what I need to do. Now let me grab my pairs. I'll do them from the top of the screen toward the bottom of the screen. Who knows what is in these? Nice double die reverses, a couple of nice double die obverses, a bunch of repunchment marks. 62D is just ripe for the picking. A lot of goodies. Now, for those of you who were involved in the singles pull last night, we've refreshed the box, and we'll be getting on that as soon as this show is over. Trying to move some stuff out of the way so I've got more free reign over my machine here. Alright, here we go. See if I can figure out what's going on here and get ourselves focused in a little bit here. There we go. All right. First pair, this one goes to Parvas. See if we see anything on here. Really close look until we either find something or we're pretty sure that we're not going to. One or the other. But we look real closely at everything up until that point. Some of the RPMs are very obvious. Some of them are not quite so obvious, so it's going to take some real looking to pick and choose. There's doubling on the inside of the 2 on some of these. There's doubling in trust on some of these. There are eyelids to be found. There are bar L's to be found from this era. A lot of different stuff. So this will be Kelly Michaud's first coin right here. And get in a little bit closer so I can see a little bit better what we're doing here, because I think we could maybe have an RPM. So let me see what we have. It's kind of hard to tell from this angle right now. Keep looking around on the coin, see if we can find markers. There's a marker on the forehead. Right in front of the forehead there's a die scratch north and south, and it actually goes all the way down to the mouth and nose area. So we can keep watching for that die again to see if it pops up and maybe has a better visibility of the mint mark area. Turn this back up so I can see if there happens to be a bar L. No, bar L would make it a minor double die. That does look like it could be a minor RPM right there. Let's move on to the next coin. And it's not the same die, and it has approximately the same appearance in the mint mark area. That's also what I'm looking for, is a possibility that I could be looking at something that's rather normal and just not really noticing it. That's another thing that you do when you're watching your coins. You want to be sure that you're watching for odd stuff, but you also want to make sure you're watching for what you think is odd stuff that may be normal. Oh, it's very important to do both, because if you're just pulling odd stuff out, you may not notice that what you just found is on about half of the rest of the coins you have. That could be causing some confusion. There we go. We're going to go with this, I think. Trying to get my lighting right. So I think I might be just a little bit bright. No. Brightness isn't the issue, it's the coins. They're reflecting a little weird. There we go. Okay, I don't know if I'll be able to use this or not. Because with a stick, you put these things out of focus real fast. So I'm going to have to back off again. Kind of like that. Hello, Mr. Adams. Good evening to you. Now this is my 1, 2, 3, 4. Why do I have 6 pairs on here? Let's not confuse ourselves and only do it 5 at a time. So this is number 4. This is Kelly Ray right here. And okay, I have that die scratch again, and it kind of sticks out at me as a possible RPM again. So this could be something worth looking into. Let's see. That lower serif looks like it could have a split in it, but it's really hard to see. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, I'm kind of not seeing it. That little landing that you see on there, that little dent in the corner of the mint mark, is normal for a 1962. What I'm kind of looking at there is that corner and whether or not there's 2 serifs there. And I'm kind of taking a swag at it right now that there are not 2 serifs there. So it's probably a nothing. Let me get it in this angle here. Yeah, I don't see anything on the right periphery of the mint mark, so I think I'm going to have to go with a no on this, unfortunately. Look, I know more than, or no less than anyone else here wants to see all kinds of great stuff pop out of this bag, because that just means that there is a ton of it in the bag. But I have to be honest as well, and so far I'm not seeing anything that looks anything outside the ordinary. You'll notice on the lower serif there's a dent on the lower serif on pretty much every coin. That's just something that's normal for 1962D. Okay, here is my last pair for now. Last pair for now goes to Tyler. I'm going to go ahead and turn these coins so I can see that lower serif pretty well. Okay, this one's normal. Keep looking around here. Yeah, and I know I'm just a little tiny bit out of focus. It's really hard to do with the stick. It's a lot easier when you're looking at it with both eyes through a microscope. Okay, that is normal there. Let's check over here. Okay, reverse time. Reverses are definitely a good possibility in 1962D. There are plenty of double die reverses. So, most of them are relatively minor. But we're going to look anyway. See what we can see. This one's mid to late die state. It's going to be a little difficult to tell on these later die state ones if you have a minor double die. But it's definitely a nice die crack or break or chip or whatever you want to call it on the column. Last column there, column 12. Column 1 probably has a little crack on it too, but this coin is not quite going to show that. Let's see here. So this is a different die altogether. I have to check this one around. I'm looking for serifs at the bottoms of the letters mostly. So I'm looking for splits, a little doubling on the bottom of the NT on the initials, places like that. Don't see anything here. So we're going to move on to the next coin, and the next coin shows us the same thing. So I'm looking at the parts of the letters that are closest to the rim, and I'm looking for doubling. I'm looking for splits in the serifs and other things that would appear to be doubled. Let's see. Okay, on this one I have nothing. Check the next one here. Because we have a full 5,000 coins here, it could be a little while before we come up with anything. So be patient with me on this one. Wanting to take a good look at everything to make sure that I'm not missing anything. That's my job, if it's not there, to inform you of that bad news. But if it is there, it's my job to find it. And nothing so far. That is pair number 4. Now on to pair number 5. See what we see here. And not there. And not there. So we've got these ready to go. And that's kind of how this works. So far, got nothing out of this bag. The couple of coins I've seen that match, that have that die scratch running through the lip and the nose, I'm going to keep watching that just to see. But my rather close analysis showed me that it didn't appear there was enough of a split anywhere to call that an RPM. So, the next 5. We've got Jim Fletcher, Doug, Carl, Taco, and Deanne. And to get the 5 pairs out, just one. Some of these coins look really nice. I mean, a lot of them look kind of average, but some of them are very nice coins. Remember that when we're looking at them through this microscope, we're looking at them way, way more than a grader would. We're looking at them way up close. 62D, if you happen to get a 67 grade in a 1962D, you have a monster coin. I don't think any of these are going to come close to a 67. But 67 grade in 1962 is a huge coin. Let's see. Turn you around and see what we see here. That one was rather promising because it was just a little bit different than the others. I kind of thought maybe different was good, but it's not showing me anything. Ah, there we go. There's a doubled eyelid. So there is a doubled eyelid in this bag. It's actually a pretty decent looking one. It's a later dice date, but the eyelid is definitely there. So now what we do is we find a marker to use. Let's see what we have for a marker. We have an old, looks like an old north and south die scratch just to the right of the 1 of the date. See if I can find something that works maybe a little bit better than that. The mint mark is kind of low. I would like a marker next to the date. Something easy. You don't always get easy in this hobby. Easy can sometimes be very difficult. Let's see. Good evening, Otis. I'm checking the chat once in a while just to try to make sure I don't miss people. Okay, that's where it's going to be. Our marker is going to have to be that die scratch next to the 1. Kind of comes in from the north and goes out through the south, right between the 1 and the 9 of the date. And that's about all I've got. So that one is going to belong to Mr. Fletcher. I'm going to hold his out just in case we need to compare another coin or another coin comes in. There's another one. Let's check for the same marker. And yeah, as I suspected, it's going to be really hard to see. See if I can find something better to use. This is where we have to slow way down, take count of what we've got going on, and figure out how we're going to duplicate this many times. There is an old clash between the 1 and the vest, but that's going to be really hard to use. Looks like there's a heavy flow line on the inside of the 9 there, between the inside and the tail. Let's see if this other coin has that. Nope, it doesn't. It appears they could be 2 different dies now, which would be fine if they are. I just need to make certain of that. It looks like the eyelid doubling is a little bit different between the 2. Let's see, let me find something that's... Okay, we have some die scratches headed out from the nose to the east. So let me see if I have those on this other coin. Yes, I do. So it is the same die. Let me find something else here to see if I can match them up. Okay, there's a die scratch between the lower R and the lower T, kind of like a little angled looking thing. See if we've got this on this other coin here, and we do. So these are the same die. So we have a doubled eyelid. Okay, there's a die dot below the T. Make sure that's there. And it is. So now I am fully convinced these are the same die. We can keep moving along. So we have a doubled eyelid to be looking for, and that appears to be another one. We'll check for... Yes. Okay. My most obvious markers are going to be right here. You've got this die scratch between the R and the T, and then you've got this die dot down here below the T. Those are that's showing up on all 3 of the coins I've seen so far of this die. And oddly enough, Doug gets 2 coins that are the same die, the same minor doubled die there. You can see on this one, you can see that mark below the T. And then on this one, you can see the same mark below the T. That's how you do it, folks. You find markers and find things that match. And so you have seen the attribution process 100% in its entirety right there, other than the part where you actually match it to a known listed double die, which we have not done. Oh, there is a much better marker right there. All that die scrape damage in the fold of the shoulder. Let's go check this coin. See, there it is. And over here on this first coin, see, there it is. So that's going to be our biggest marker right there. Is those marks. you can tell by those marks alone that you have that die. Because when we move on to a coin that's not from that same die, so let's move on to this, it doesn't have any of that there. And it's probably also not going to be a double die lid. Is this a RPM? No, not an RPM. So let's look at the eye area. See, this is a slightly earlier die state than our double die. Still looking for other die varieties because, well, just because we found one doesn't mean that's the only one that's in the box. All right. Okay, this one is not one of them. Or maybe it could be. See, now I'm starting to see things. Let's see here. I see a mark below the T, and I see an angled die scratch between the RT. But I'm not seeing what I need to see in order to show this as one of the double die lids. We'll work on that with reverse markers. I'm sure we will find a reverse marker or two. See, there's another one. And there it is, that heavy die dot below the T. So this is going to be the first coin in the fourth pair, which is Taco John. Second coin in the fourth pair, which is also Taco John. So we don't change within the pair, so that makes it easy. I don't have to go looking at names once I've looked. Let's see what it is, if it is. Chuck, you need to quit mumbling so much and just say what you gotta say. That is another one. That is another one. So we're coming down. No double die lids listed for 1962D. Well, now there will be. Okay, this is our last pair. I was just speaking of double die lids being a thing of this era. 1960 through 1964 double die lids are rather common. That there's not one already listed is almost surprising. But there we have it, nonetheless. This is going to be one where I'll easily be able to get one to everybody because it seems like they're very common in this bag. Now, that does not mean they are common. That means they are common in this bag. Alright, let's go through the reverses. Which means that this bag could possibly be the only bag that had these in them. We don't know. We know nothing about that. All we know is that our possibilities are rather strong of finding more of them. This is the first of the double die lid coins. Now there's a marker right there on the right side of the roof. There's a die scratch right there. That's the kind of stuff you have to be able to look for when you're doing this, which means you need the right magnification, the right lighting, the right situational awareness. There's some die scratches below the E of states. But there is no doubling on this side of the coin. Let's go to Doug's first coin. Should have those same markers. Let me turn it this way a little bit and make them a little bit easier to see. Okay, I don't have a readily apparent line. I think it's there. But our die scratches under the E are definitely there. And then this one will have the same thing. Die scratches under the E are definitely there. And I guess our line is kind of weak. I mean, like really weak on some of these. There it is. You can see it a little better that way. Yes, Taco John, we got your print sent out finally. I had to dig through a closet, dig through a garage. I haven't sold those in a while. And so to find the supplies to sell one made me think that perhaps we should be doing something to sell more of them, because I'm sure there's a lot of people who haven't even seen them before. I'm going to see if I can pick the next one out just by looking at the reverse of the coin. If I can do that, then we have solid markers. Okay, this looks like one of them right here. See the angled die scratches below the E of states? Okay, I'm going to flip that coin over. And we're going to see if it's a doubled eyelid. It is. Okay, so we have a doubled die that we are going to be watching for. Here's another one of them. So, is that right? There's one. There's one. So, does that mean Taco John got two of them? I think Taco John got two of them. Let me flip this coin over. Yes, he did. Taco John, you got two of the double dice. I didn't really even notice that until I got to the reverse. Okay, nothing else on this particular stick, I don't think. So I'm going to go ahead and empty this into the inserts, into the flips, and get ourselves ready to continue moving along. I will get to the pool, the singles pool, as soon as we are finished with this. I'll be going on this for probably another 20 to 30 minutes. Just to get through one pair for everybody. Make sure everybody gets to see enough of these coins to get a good idea of what's out there. I'll go through the bag and I'll pull more of these doubled eyelids and pocket them, make sure everybody gets one. So that's my next group right there. Frostbite, Richard, Farm Dog, and Calipigeon. Speaking of making sure everybody gets one, I was reminded by Mickey that we didn't end up getting one of those 95 double die reverses to everyone who was involved in that bag because they were just scarce. Hard to find in that bag. But never fear. Mickey now has the bag, and he's going to take the time it takes to go through all those coins and find them. And you guys will each, whoever was involved in that particular bag reveal, will each get one of the double dies in a future package here soon enough. Okay, I think that is one. It is. You get a double die. This is not one of them. Well, it is one of them. It is one of them. So Frosty gets two of them. Let's see. That is not. And my markers show as such. It is not. Okay. Let's see what this is. This is one of them. And there it is. Got our die dot below the T. And our little die scratch between the RT. RT. This is not one of them. And this one is. There we go. So I'm learning to pull my markers now. That was the second coin for Ant. So Ant gets one of them as well. This is not one of them. You didn't find very many of those double die reverses in your bag either, only a few. Did you have a 95 bag and you found some of the double dies in there? But you didn't find very many of them? Okay. I was unaware. There's one right there. And the marker is damaged. That little hit right through that area took out that little die dot, but you can still see the die scratch between the lower RT We definitely have the doubled eyelid. That's unquestionably there. I'm having a little bit of a focus issue because my stick is just a tiny bit warped, I think. Okay, there we go. There's another one. That one was Farm Dogs. This one's Calipigian J. See, there you go. There's your die chip, or not die chip, a die hit again. Not a die hit. It is a die dent. It's a little hit placed on the die. So that is Calipigian. There gets one. That right there. Okay. So let's look at the reverse on these. See if we can find anything. Hello, KCB. Is that KC? Is that Sanford, Kansas City? I wore a hat that said KC most of my childhood, but I was a Kansas City Royals fan. See, that one's one of the double dies right there. You can see the marker on the reverse that shows it is. And there's another one. And this one is not one. Slightly earlier die state. Take a look around here. Not KCB. Not Kansas City. Okay. 50 miles southeast of Charlotte. Charlotte, North Carolina? Are you in North Carolina or South Carolina? I live about 120 miles east of Charlotte. Another one of our double dies. These double dies seem to be rather prolific in this particular bag. You live in North Carolina, okay. I know 3 people who live in your general neighborhood. There's another one of them. Right there. See, these little markers like this can disappear quickly. And so I would only really count on this marker showing up in this particular die state. Any other die state, I would be weary of whether or not it would show. So there we go. We've got plenty more of the double dies here for these 5 lucky people. So this bag was worth it. Wonder if I get another 1962 D bag, if people would enjoy that one as well, because I have a byline on one. 62D and 63 plain. And a 61 plain. Yep, Mickey lives 15 miles from Wilmington. I live in the Smithfield area. All right, there we go. Next up, we've got Sissy, Malcolm, Crispy, Josie, and Jordan. Hello, Roger. Good afternoon, good sir. Greetings and salutations. Let's see here. I don't like that coin. That one had a little bit of counting wheel damage on it. Not, it had rubber on it from a counting wheel. Friction marks from being sped through a counter, and then something stopped the machine and the counting wheel just sat and rubbed on this coin. I didn't like it, so I tossed it. Here we go. There's our first coin. And not a double die. The second one is not a double die. It's a different marker there. die scratch coming up northwest out of the Y in Liberty. You always look for die markers. Looking for die markers is rather paramount to this game. There we go. There's another one of the double dies. Little dot. You see, there you got a little die dot there below the T. And for those who may not be intuitive as to what I'm looking at, it's this right here. This right here is doubling of this. So this is a second eyelid, and this is the primary eyelid. How do I know that? Well, a lot of experience. But that's what that is. You generally won't see a bump on a copper Lincoln cent in that same general area. Stanley County. I don't even know where Stanley County is. I probably need to visit that county because I have not yet been there, I don't think. This is one of them right here. Another doubled eyelid, and we should have a die dot below the T, and we do. And this one is not one of the doubled eyelids, and it doesn't look like we have any RPMs in this bag. Not so far anyway. Does that DDO follow many Lincolns? I'm not really sure what the question means, Larry. Can you try to rephrase it for me so that I can try to answer it better? This is not one of the doubled eyelids, I don't think. I thought I might have seen an RPM on it, but I did not. Okay, so let's see what we've got on the last pair. This one's for Jordan. There's one of the doubled dies right there. Doubled eyelid. More Lincolns have the same DDO. Now, the doubled die in itself only belongs to one single die, and that's the die that struck these coins. So if you're looking at a 1963 and you see a doubled eyelid, it is not the exact same doubled die. But by type, as being class 4 offset hub doubled dies that have doubled eyelids, it's actually kind of a rather common thing. So you will see plenty of them. It just won't be the exact same die. So every one of them can be listed as a different doubled die simply because, well, they're different dates, different mint marks, different appearances of the doubling on the eye. There's a nice marker. Doesn't belong to anything, but it's a nice marker. Always watch for your markers. Markers are, that's what's going to be 90% of how you're going to diagnose exactly what you've got, is by finding and using markers. Now see, this is one of the double dies. You can see that angled die scratch below the E. So always watch for that, and you'll know that you've got that particular double die. So any doubled eyelids I find that don't have that particular set of die scratches, there it is again. Would be a different double die. But these all have the same markers in this bag, as would be expected, because this bag of coins was minted basically within a half hour of each other. Every one of the coins. Hey, there's a struck through. That's kind of neat. This one had a piece of metal laying on the coin, had a fragment of metal laying on the coin. It was struck into the coin, and then it fell out, leaving a cavity where that piece of metal was. There's another piece just about to fleck out right there on the E of 1. So you could argue the point that in this line right here there are issues with lamination. Lamination being that layers of the metal, as it was being flattened out to mint into coins, did not stick together very well. And so during the 30,000 pounds of force used in striking the coins, that layer kind of becomes dislodged. Sometimes the entire planchet will split in half. At other times it's just little flakes of metal that come off the surface. This is another one of your double dies right here. You can see that angled die scratch below the E, or a number of them actually. This one is not. Something stuck to the coin there. That's nothing. This right here, this area of weakness where you don't see any design on the cornice there, that is a weaker strike. You can always tell your weaker strikes in this era because the steps will not be complete in the bottom, and there will be some weakness in the middle of the design. Any weakness like that will keep you from getting a high grade on your coin, just so you know that. It's not a particular number of layers, Doug. It's just how, when you're making let's say you're making a billet to make a Damascus steel knife, you use layers and layers and layers of metal, and then you heat them and mash them together. And that's kind of what happens when they're making the alloy to make planchets for minting coins. There isn't a particular number of layers, I don't think. It's just sometimes they just don't stick together just right. Most of the time they do. But it isn't a particular number of layers, I don't think. We've actually got 6 people on this final stick. This will be as far as we go with this. Oh, this one's listed on Variety Vista. Yeah, a lot of these really minor ones. We've got boxes and boxes of them. We just haven't ever had the time to list them because we're trying to do everything. And trying to do everything, you get kind of bogged down a little bit. I have well over a dozen boxes, double row boxes, full of die varieties sitting here that have only been seen once, stuck in a box, and they've been in there for ever since. Alright, so this one is going to Sureg, and this one is not one of the double die obverses. This one is not. That's Sureg's second coin there. And this one goes to Mr. Worley. And that is not one of the double dies. And this one is. So there's your die break, or your die dent, your little dot below the T. It's below the left side of the T. You can see it down there. Doug, what the layers not sticking is, that's in like imperfections, different temperatures. A lot of different things can cause metal not to stick to metal when you're trying to get them to roll together, and then those layers just come apart. It isn't necessarily something stuck between them. That particular coin, what we're talking about with that particular coin was that there was something laying on top of. Okay, the struck through, there was something laying on top of the planchet when it was struck. That's why the design didn't come up into the die properly, because there was something sitting on the coin when it was minted. These coins look rough, but I promise you they're decent coins. There's nothing wrong with them. They only look rough under the microscope. Like, this means that they're not going to have like super high grades, but we're kind of looking for die varieties here anyway. We only found the one. I'm going to go through more of these coins. I'm going to take a better look at them. I might find something else. If I do, I'll let you guys know. But here is the last pair of coins. There's one. It's a minor doubled eyelid right there. Let's see if it's the same die. And it's not. That could be a different doubled eyelid. Although I am seeing what appears to be the same die scratches between the R and the T. But it's not strong. It's a very weak one. It may or may not be a doubled eyelid. I'll have to check it, look at it, study it, and make my determination when I've got both eyes looking down at a microscope and a microphone not stuck in my mouth. Okay, there's that. Let's take a look at the other side. Let's see here. Nothing there. Nothing there. Let's see if we might have something here. No. Nope, nope, nope. There's one of our double die obverses. And this is not one of them. Also not one of them. Also not one of them. There's a partially struck through. That's got something that was sitting there that was struck through at the rim. How I can tell is there's no raised metal around what appears to be hits. There's no raised metal at all. And actually, if you look right down here, you can see these little guys, they look like craters. And those things that look like craters actually have a little bit of raised metal around them. If you look really closely, you can see that there's some raised metal there. Let's go in here and take a better look, because this is good education right here. And get this really well focused. Okay. So if you look at these little guys, you can see that they've got raised metal around. It looks like someone stuck a screwdriver into the coin and mashed out the edges, and you've got a crater with rims. Now if you look up here at this mark, it doesn't have anything sticking up around the sunken in mark. So that was actually done inside the minting chamber. That was done while the coin was being minted. So that is a struck through. This is hits on the coin. Let's see if we can find something else. Here's another. Hit on a coin right there. Hit on a coin. It's got raised metal around the edge of the pit. Let's see some other. There's another one, a large one. It's got raised metal all around it. There's another one. See how you've got raised metal again. Raised metal means you've got a scratch or a pit. That's another raised metal around the edges. You can see how the shadows play with it and how the light lights up right on the edge. You can tell that that's got raised metal. Now let's go back and take a look at that again now that you've seen a few of them. Where are you? I know it's on this coin. Sometimes my head plays games with me. Was it on this coin? Okay, what are we doing here? That's another struck through. It's a really small one. Let's go back and find what we were talking about. Where are you? Did I skip it altogether? What did I do here? Oh well. It was there. I'm That's not it either. That's weird. Did I move over? I moved the wrong direction. That's what I did. There it is. So now you see here, there's no raised metal around the edge of that. That was my point. That's what I was getting at. When I'm zoomed in that far, it's really hard to see much of anything other than the molecules that I'm looking at that very point in time, which makes it very difficult to steer to see what you're actually looking for. Okay. We can actually take a look at that one coin. Let's finish getting through these here. See if we see anything on these. Got nothing here. So, take a look at that other coin again. Take a look at what appeared to be a minor doubled eyelid, and I don't remember exactly which coin it was, so I'm going to have to find it again. There it is. So you can see a lightened area out in front of the eye. It's a little raised hump right there. It's not the same as the other one that we've been looking at because, well, we don't have the same markers. They're not exactly the same markers. Let's flip this one coin over and see if we have our reverse markers that we've been watching for. And we do not. This is a different die altogether. So if it turns out to be a doubled eyelid, then we have two different doubled eyelids in this bag. So I'm sorry for the slight problems with focus tonight. I've had a little bit of an issue with focus. I'm having a little bit of issue with focus in my head. So that's the last of what we're going to be doing before we move on to the other show. It is almost exactly 8 o'clock. So I'm going to finish putting these in, and we'll switch over to the other show here very shortly. Give me about 5 to 10 minutes to get myself done and ready for that one. And go out and find the singles pull in the channel guide and meet me there. And we'll do some more fun and games. How's that sound? We had new coins placed in. We've refreshed the boxes, so the boxes will be nice and fresh for us this time around. No more stacks of duplication. That was embarrassing. I have no idea how that happened. Mickey and I looking at each other like, what are the odds? How can that possibly happen? All right, there we go. I'm going to shut down now. We're going to meet up over at the other stream. I'll see you there.